And we are live. Let's pull up my little chat box so I can see anybody's lovely messages. There we go. Hello everybody. Welcome back to another stream of Warhammer Quest Darkwater, where we're painting the villains. We are on to our third figure today, which is Shaman Foulhoof, which his description: Shaman Foulhoof is a corrupt beastman shaman, a key villain in the Warhammer Quest Darkwater board. Leading the Bristolian fly-blown herd dedicated to Nurgle, the Chaos God of Decay, known for his grotesque Nurgle-themed mask, fungal growths, and role as a shaman summoning plague against heroes in the game. So that's what he does. He is a little goatee boy with shamanistic features, as well as a big old mask and some pretty cool dreads, to be honest, so they're going to be quite fun to paint. For those of you who have not been able to catch up on the previous streams, so far we have painted Belga the Cyst Witch, and we have painted, I think it's Gelgus Pust, which is the Prince of Swords. So this is... Ahoy, another smelly boy. It is indeed another smelly boy. Hello, miss. It's just come to say hi. Hi, Signed. How are you? This is Belga. This is how she turned out. And this is Gelgus Pust and how he turned out yesterday. They're both pretty cool. And now we're on to our third guy. So to begin with, his clothing is like a greenish brown colour. So to do that, or it's a dark greenish blackish colour. So I've gone ahead and mixed a little bit of Caliban green. Oh, she is done. She looks wonderful. Thank you very much. She was really fun to paint. Really, really fun. And a little bit of Abaddon black together just to make the colour that I'm going to use. Doing the pool of like toxic sludge was really, really fun. So I got to use the Ard coat. And I did 2 coats of it and then applied some like light green highlights in there just to really make the bubbles and stuff in it pop, and it's amazing. I love it. Out of the 2, I think she is my favourite just because I love all the details. Alright, have fun with the stream. I'm going to have to do my best to eat. Have a lovely time, Signed. Have a wonderful dinner. And a lovely time with your bestie. Now onto his cloak. As I said before, this is Caliban green and Abaddon black mixed together just to make it slightly darker. But I will be dry brushing this later on with like a brown shade. Lots of creases and folds in this, so this one's going to be quite fun to highlight later. It's actually a very nice colour. Could have done with like a khaki green, that would have been perfect. But this dark blackish green is really good too. There's lots of little details on this one. Lots of horns and like growths. So he's particularly grotesque. But one thing is for certain, he is a beastie boy. I do think already I'm really enjoying painting the villains. I love doing the heroes as well, but just because the villains are a little bit more interesting. I think I'm enjoying these a bit more at the moment. So far. There is still a lot of villains for me to paint, that could easily change. It's going to need 2 coats 100%, but we'll let that first one dry first. I'll have a look at the reference photo. Just show you guys what we're working with, what kind of the inspiration is for today's idea. It's very cool. I get to use, he's got a heart in his hand. So in this case, I'm actually going to be very excited to use a technical paint, Blood for the Blood God. Going to need coats, why? Because he is cold. Ha! Well, to be fair, he is very clothless. He does not have a lot of clothes. So he probably is a little bit chilly. No wonder he's so angry. I get a little bit annoyed when I'm cold. Be a pretty useless reason to actually join Nurgle, though. Just because you were cold. Okay, going in with just the black now. Just have it on black. I would join Nurgle for a cup of tea, to be honest. Really? Just for a cup of tea? We need to be a really good cup of tea. Nurgle would just have to give you a smile. That very grotesque, creepy smile that he does, and you'd be like, I'm in. I made it. Hi Arch, how are you? How is your dad doing? I saw your message this morning. How is he doing? A wild arch has appeared, indeed. Indeed he has. Is all the Christmas shopping done now, Arch? Is your torture ended? I'm bloody knackered. All the running around. He's doing okay. Finished hormone therapy, onto radio for the rest of December and all the Jan. Future looks bright though. Fantastic. I'm really happy to hear that. Hi Carla, how are you doing? Just to wrap everything. I've got a couple presents to wrap myself, but nothing too severe, luckily. Just so you're all caught up on what we have done. This is the progress so far of the Villians arch. So we have Belga the Sister Witch. Doing fine? Good, fantastic. Happy to hear it. The lovely Belga, who is lovely and gross. And then, of course, Gelga's Pust, who's really fun, actually. He's enjoyable.
Ooh, spooky girls.
Mr. Nerd is home and he's just adjusted my my screen for me a second ago. So, or has he? Or is it just a ghost? Ooh, the Grub Witch. Minion but nice, absolutely. She is minion but she's fantastic. Got to use some Ard Coat, which is technical paint that makes everything super glossy in the cauldron. And yeah, I think the cauldron on her is actually what I'm most proud of. It just looks really grim in a really good way. Gelga's turned out nice, thank you very much. And today we're on to Shaman Foulhoof. Or Foulhoof, sorry. We're trying to decide why he decided to join Nurgle. They've all been Pog so far. I still don't know what that means. What?
Means player of game.
Player of game?
Essentially GG.
Okay. Essentially GG, okay. Every time you say it, I'm like, why? I don't understand. Because this is a mask, and it is kind of a... It looks more like a fabric mask than anything else. I could just go in with some regular red. I'm looking forward to the bog doggos. Ooft, what did you use for the cauldron? Forgive me, I'm catching up absolutely fine. So for the cauldron colour, I used Moot Green. By the way, I have posted on my channel. Fantastic! I'll have to have a look at that one. We use Moot Green as the base colour for that, which is obviously that really toxic limey green. And I mixed that with some white to do the highlights. And for the glossy effect, I used Ard Coat, which is essentially like almost like a PVA kind of style. So when it dries, it goes really, really glossy and shiny. And you get this. So it's one of my favourite technical paints to use, actually. And we've got quite a few technical paints, but it's one of my favourites. But in this guy's hand today is a heart, and I'm going to use Blood for the Blood God on that today. And if it's not shiny enough, I will add some more art coat over the top, which is my first models I painted. Amazing. That turned out smashing, by the way. Thank you so much. Yeah, the cauldron was a lot of fun. I was getting really excited whilst painting it. I was just like, oh, this is so good. It's everything I thought it would be in my head, everything I pictured coming together, and I was very happy with it. What I'm going to do for his, even though it's like a hood, I am going to actually make his hood metallic, because it is kind of a metallic-y colour in a lot of the reference photos. So, I think I'm going to go in with, I'm not going to use lead belcher. I'm going to be different. Don't know how different, but I'm going to be different. Might go in with some iron breaker and then a burgundy over the top. I don't know if my models are better than yours. I'm sure they're absolutely amazing colour. Being a bit of a heretic and using a different coloured silver. But I still do good, absolutely. End of the day, you've posted something that you've worked hard on, that shows your skill set, that you're only going to improve on. I'm loving the Fiesta music. This is literally just like a random selection of stuff from copyright-free music and like Final Fantasy music. So it just flicks between the two. And one it will be like epic gameplay music, and then the next it's like a Fiesta, or it's in a, as Signed put it the other day, in a bakery in Paris. It goes a bit all over the place. It's quite fun. I'm using this silver as a base because what I'm going to do is go over it later on with a contrast paint and make it a metallic base. That's what I did for Golga's Pust's armour yesterday. And I was really happy with how it turned out, so I kind of want to do it again, just with a red. I've got a problem. I think I'm addicted to Red Leicester mini cheddars. Good God, they're so nice. Don't buy them. They're cheesy crap. To be honest, I've just gone ahead and bought some of our food shopping today for Christmas, and up until like now I've had to be like really careful with like certain cheeses and stuff like that. And then I went ahead and did a little bit of research and I was like, I can eat this cheese for Christmas and I can eat this cheese. So I need to pop out tomorrow just to pick up some crackers. But I've got quite an impressive cheese board built at the moment. The only ones I can't have are brie and camembert. Those are the only two I have to go without for at least a few more days. But you can guarantee as soon as this little man is out, it's cheese board time. With all the cheeses I couldn't have. But mini cheddars are good anyway. But I haven't actually had the Red Leicester ones. But I am a fan of mini cheddars. If I may, when is We Space Marine due? He is due on the 2nd, but it's actually important for you guys to know now. 27th will be our last stream, at least for a little bit, because I'm due to be induced on the 28th. So you guys can expect streams up until then. I won't be streaming on Christmas Day, but I'll be streaming tomorrow. I'll be streaming 26th. I won't be streaming Christmas Day, and after that for at least a little bit. What? You are to stream when in hospital? Especially because I'm induced, I could be there for a few days. Just, you know, I don't know if they'd appreciate that. In a hospital bed, just painting figures. Cracks whip. Well, to be honest, they did tell me to bring stuff that would, like, keep me entertained. Just bring some paints with me. Paint a few figures. Record it. Why not? Everyone look at the atmosphere and just be like, why does it look so different? Why has she got ring lights coming into the hospital? What is this person doing? Thinking I'm there to like stream my birth or something. No, just streaming me painting Warhammer figures. Is that not what you do when you're in labour? Is that not normal? Just going with the second coat of the green. I'm going to be mixing some more up again in a moment because I'm already running low on the colour I made. Which, as a reminder, is some Caliban green and Abaddon black together. So Wee Space Marine has not got very long left. And I'm kind of hoping that I get induced on the 28th and he's there by the 29th. That's the hope. Do you know who Daft Punk is? Oh, I do. It's actually one of Mr. Nerd's favourite bands, Daft Punk. It's a duo, sorry. Yeah, I doubt they'll let you honk the wall with paint and glue fumes.
If you won't need to bring blood for the blood god.
I won't. I won't need to bring blood for the blood god. No, probably not. That's really grim. That's a really grim thought. Might have to bring some of the bog doggos with me. I can't remember what they're called now. It's the selkies. Just paint a few of those whilst I'm in there. Geomob is my favourite out of the duo. Do you have a favourite out of the duo, Mr. Nerd?
Song.
Are you alright? Yeah, if anyone was going to say it, I'm sorry, it would have to be, you'd have to be Mr. Nerd, I'm sorry. No, if I'm going to do anything, it will just be... I might take a few... I don't know if it's even worth me building them in there, because I'm technically bringing in a tool. I don't think they'd let me. I might get thrown out. Do get my own room, though, so that is good. But also means if he does come before New Year's, I can actually have a little glass of, say, mulled wine or something over New Year's. Which is the only part of Christmas so far I'm missing. Because I love mulled wine and I can't have any whilst pregnant. And I've done some, well, as Mr. Nerd would say, you can, you just shouldn't. But it seems like everything's testing me at the moment, because every time I go to try and buy like a 0% mulled wine for Christmas Day, they're all sold out. I'm like, ah. I actually wanted to paint a Space Marine like Gmob and give it to him. It's quite a nice idea, to be honest. It's quite cool. You see it a lot, like, obviously this is anime and like TV show related, but you see it a lot of conventions and things where people kind of paint stuff for, or make stuff for artists. Take the new Warhammer magazine with you and read it. It's all Darkwater, this issue. We do have it. Tau would be better in my opinion. That would be good. Or an Aldred. Are you all ready for Christmas now, colour? Diva Croft. If I had to paint Space Marines, I would pick any colour but blue. If it doesn't come pre-painted, then who the hell can force me to pick that blue? Lol. I did an entire set of Space Marines painted like Sailor Moon characters, so I'm completely all for that. Ultramarines specifically, I was like, they're quite good base, they have good little features. And then I painted the entire section like Space Marines and Sailor Moon Marines. And added bows and glitter. It's great fun. I really dislike the ultramarine colour, the boring ultramarine colour. It is really boring, but I know they're your boys, Arch, so I'm not trying to be insulting, but I wish they could have just a little bit more something. A little bit of something. They look cool. It's just, I want to have a different colour. Mine are actually, because obviously I'm Dark Angels, mine are kind of similar to the colour I'm using on this guy, actually. Dark green, blacks, those kind of colours. I like it. In your opinion, Arch, what do you think is going to happen when Gulliman is reunited with Lion?
You're gonna kiss.
Mr. Nerd says they're going to kiss. I think there'll be a hug in there eventually. But I think for a little bit they're going to have a little bit of a it may end up in a little bit of a fist fight. Get my words out eventually. I think a fist fight could happen potentially. Mr. Nerd, you're a dirty heretic, and you're brainwashing Bobby F. And you're buzz munching Bobby G's boys. Oh, you've got him angry now. To be honest, I did enjoy painting them for the kill theme and being able to really muddy them up and make them look really gross. They looked really, really cool with that colour scheme, with the extra reds and the browns and the extra grime to really make them look super dirty. That was really, really fun. Okay, I need a brown now. Not anything too dark. Going with Thundia, I think. It's really a good choice. But you already knew he was a heretic, 'cause he likes Nurgle and he likes Tau. Can't expect much else from the guy who supports the space communists. Arch. One of us. No, not one of us. Bad. Naughty. When it comes to Little Man, as long as he doesn't pick an orc and as long as he doesn't pick Tau as his first army, then he'll be fine. And I know Tau was Mr. Nerd's first, but I think Lion and Bobby G could be a bit of a fiery affair. Straight-laced Codex approach versus Wise to the current World Lion might be a difficult meet-up. I think so. I think so. Like, I'm reading his book at the moment, and you can obviously, it's obviously him just after he's woken up, and he's obviously very confused and trying to figure out who he is and what's going on. And you know, it's going to take him a while to figure out everything that he remembers, and obviously his instincts and why he has them. And then the minute he meets Gulliman, who's going to be like, I know you, he's like, do you? And I think there could be some animosity there. Not necessarily intentional animosity. But animosity for sure. It's one we need to see, though. We need to see the reunion between Gulliman and Lion.
Yes.
Mr. Nerd just thinks they need to kiss. By the way, tonight is the deadline if you want your special edition leather-bound Siege of Terror. It's made to order, remember. Screw it, I'm getting it. I'll leave that decision to Mr. Nerd. Currently have a kitten trying to jump all over me again. And trying to drink my water. Can you walk away with peace and harmony, please, cat? the other day on stream, he decided to stick his foot in my water and throw it all over my desk. So that was fun. Will that be a little Christmas present to yourself, Arch? The Cat People, have you ever seen Simon's Cat? It's a book series turned animation, very entertaining. Yes, I have a few times. Of course you're going to lie on my mouse now, Cat. This cat just does whatever he wants, I think. Please don't lie on my mouse, I need that. I don't want the stream to suddenly end because you decided to take a nap on my mouse. I love them all dearly, but I swear sometimes they are just pains in the backside. I think this guy's going to require quite a few layers of dry brushing. Well, Darkwater was my express present to me. Forgotten that I ordered it. Forgot that I ordered the Titus Helm with stand for my Xmas. Now want the damn book too. Good, you know, too good to myself. I've got a very large selection of lion stuff. So sorry if you hear the faintly the sound of battle in the background. Our neighbours seem to be worshipping corn at the moment. They do, for some reason. They've been doing it for a couple of hours at this point. Yeah, it starts like there's like a series. It seems to be like an allocated time of the day where they just go absolutely berserk, and you can just hear them through the walls. Have you seen the Dark Angel's helmet and stand? It's up for pre-order. I have, and not only have I, but Mr. Nerd has purchased it for me along with the T-shirt that comes with it. The lion one. Technically, it's the Dark Angels, but it's referred to as just the lion one on there at that time. But yes. I have it ordered already, along with the T-shirt. And then Mr. Nerd has bought me a bunch of Dark Angel stuff for Christmas. Because he went ahead and got what was the Tau box set called? The Battle Force box, that's it.
Farsight Cadre.
So, Farsight Cadre. So I have the Combat Patrol. And he has the Battle Force, and points are very, very different. So for us to be able to play against each other using those two, we'll need to kind of level out the points. So because of that, he's just been buying a bunch of stuff to kind of make up my points for my army for when we do actually get to play. Now he's a goat, but he's got like a cowbell thing on his tunic at the bottom, which is interesting. There we go. Get back into that green black, there's one part I missed. The helmet / mask stand. Oh dear, that's helpful. My other cats have jumped on the desk as well. Why am I being surrounded by cats today? This is new. Oh, it's... I do need a hero. Okay, Mr. Nerd, please. My 13-year-old cat's jumped up, and she's not normally a problem because she happily sits off to one side and is just happy being in your company. The other one is trying to eat my paintbrushes and drink my water / knock it over my desk. So it's a bit of a problem. The helmet / mask / stand combo I'd sell a kidney for is Krieg. Must have one. Joy Toy will start releasing them all now. Way too popular not to. Sorry if that sounded really close to the mic. I'm trying to look around my cat to read because she's refusing to move. Just surrounded by cats, and we're like, what is this conflict? Do we move them or not? There we go. One's come off the table now. Right, that silver is definitely dry now, so I can go in and... oh dear. Oh, the other one's getting off as well. Yay! The troublemaker has got off the table. I'm happier now. I'm now going to go over that mask. And for that, I'm going to go in with contrast paint. Sigvold Burgundy. And just a tiny brush, because I don't need much. A cow one would be cool. Any helmet is going to be cool if you're looking for it. Problem is if you're one of these people that just collects everything regardless of whether or not you're a fan of that particular order, or whether or not you're just like, it's a mask, I need to get them all. Because that could be a very expensive hobby. Tiny brush and Sigvold Burgundy. quite nice so far. I've been collecting the Star Wars Black Series helmets for a few years now. That's expensive enough. Now Warhammer are doing it to my missus. I just keep buying quote-unquote crap. We have a bunch of the Star Wars helmets. So I can't comment on that one, unfortunately. Would be hypocritical of me. He has some very small Nurgle symbols on his head, so I'm just kind of trying to paint around them. So when I apply the gold in a bit, it doesn't go too dark over them. This is helmet so far, and his mask. Those Star Wars helmets, I've been screaming for years for a TIE Fighter helmet, and we just keep getting reused paint jobs of stormtroopers. I'm fed up with it. Where's the Imperial Guard or C-3PO? Definitely understand that. I think once that dries, I'm going to go ahead and do a base coat of some work on this heart now. Because I'm basically going to paint it all one solid colour and then dry brush it with a pinkish tone. And then go in with Blood for the Blood God over the top to make it look like it's bleeding. I think I'll go in with Gal Vorbak Red for the base of the heart. It's quite a dark red. Did you say Blood for the Blood Doggo? Yes, Blood for the Blood God. I'm using that today. If I've got a bleeding heart, it would be stupid of me not to, would it? Again, this is more like a burgundy colour. But Blood for the Blood God is a more reddish tone, so it's kind of just adding depth. And then I can gradually add brightness on top. Because this is definitely more of like a burgundy, dark reddish colour. Blood for the Blood God Blood for the Blood God is like a nice rug in a room. It just ties everything together exactly. And like I said, if it's not shiny enough, I'll go over it with Ard Coat to make it look extra. Chef's kiss. Because I'm determined to make this heart look as good as my cauldron on Belga. I want this to be spot on. There we go. The base of the heart done. Leave that to dry. And then we can build on that as we go. There's a few little bits of fur that I missed, so I'm just going to go in and fill that in again with Dondia Brown. Oh dear, it appears the cat is back. Hopefully in Boxing Day I might actually get to open Darkwater and build a few. Haven't had very much free time for it. Nope, I completely understand why you haven't had any free time. They're all pushed to fit, which is nice and helpful. Now to move on to the horns. For that I'm going to go in with, start with Gortha Brown. I think we do an awful lot of rushing on the build up to Christmas, and the minute Christmas Day is over, it's like, oh, did you guys start Discord yet? Or it's on the works? It is actually in the description down below, Arch. There is a link to the Discord down there, if you want to join it. I'm going to dry brush over the top of these with like a lighter, bit bony colour. Just to highlight the ridges. Oh, I'll give that a peek. Please feel free. Oh, the cat's back again. Please leave my water alone, mister. It's not a toy for you to throw all over my desk. Sacrifices that have to be made when you have a cat.
Air
He's-
jail time. It's air jail.
He is going into air jail because he's being naughty. The only problem is he is 10 months old and he weighs a ton. So keeping him in air jail is probably more of a punishment for us than it is for him because he's a simple ginger boy and doesn't really understand what's going on most of the time. He's very sweet though, most of the time. I'm convinced a lot of the time when he misbehaves it is completely unintentional and he just doesn't realise. But thankfully Mr. Nerd is home, so I have an extra pair of hands who can help me deal with him. Unlike the other day when I was trying to fight him off whilst painting figures, it didn't go well.
Extra hands.
Extra hands! It didn't go well. And that's how I ended up with spilt water all over my desk streaming towards my laptop and me freaking out. Colour-wise, this isn't obviously 100% exact to the photo, but it's just like my interpretation of it. Because I quite like the lighter browns and dark browns, and then using lighter shades as that kind of contrast / highlight. Just to kind of, well, more so for the highlight, just to kind of bring them out, rather than going in with lighter and then having to add darkness. Browns are spot on for Nurgle, I agree. Browns and greens. As long as you've got those two, you can't really go wrong. To be honest, your Nurgle models are likely your best. I think so. I agree. And that's not just here as well. That's like on our channel with like the Plague guys. Not only are they the ones I've enjoyed the most up until recently, but they are just really, really fun to paint. I like doing the really dirty figures, I think. The colour schemes with the browns, the blacks, the greens, and the metallics. It just works. I enjoy it a lot. I think between those and then my Cherry Blossom and Sylvaneth are probably the best ones I've done so far. And that's like early days. My Cherry Blossom Sylvaneth were like right at the beginning. A bit more of that Thondia just because there's a little extra tuft of hair back here. Before it goes into his So I've made a list of all the Chaos Space Marine chapters and I wrote everything down for each model. Ooh. I bet that took a while to do. Just trying to decide what colour I want to do his 1.5 hours. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised it took you that long at all. Just going to do a second layer of black over the pack on his back. And there's a little one down here, so I'll do the exact same colour. He's coming together, he's getting there. So what do you play, Core? Full Fat 40k, boarding actions, kill team? Because just getting into it, and you've got quite a little collection that you're building up, aren't you? Haven't you, Colour? You do like your 40k though. Remember us having that discussion, you are into your 40k. Give me on to his dreads. And please call me Gorlock, I prefer it. Nope, no worries at all. I can do that. For his dreads, I think a combination of lighter brown. Because I don't want to be the same colour as the horns. The issue. I think I go in with Night Quest of Flesh for that. Just similar, but not quite the same. I love 40k, I hope you get a dreadnought. That would be rather cool. Just watch the trailer for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Looks mwah, chef's kiss. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where myself and Mr. Nerd are very, very fans of Greek mythology. And I introduced him to Epic earlier on this year. And it's like changed everything in the best way. I'm not that excited about it after the trailer. We'll still watch it though, no doubt. Because Christopher Nolan is an incredible director. Just have to just see his interpretation of it. There's one a couple years ago with Ralph Fiennes in. That one got pretty good reviews. And it was actually quite cool to see like a more age-appropriate Odysseus. Does Thousand Suns have a dreadnought? I don't know. They all do. Oh yeah, they all do. You have to kit bash it, but yes, says Mr. Nerd. Kit bash? What's that? Not a fan of Odysseus kneeling to who I assume is Agamemnon. Who are in parity. I think I might do a second layer of colour over the mask. Because it's a bit too pink for my liking. Even if I go over with a shade paint, I think it won't be dark enough. So. Kit bash is using other pieces on a model to convert the look of it. Give some Blood Angels red, I think, over that mask, just to make it a bit more red rather than pink. So I'm going with an extra layer of contrast paint. You won't be able to see the metallic underneath as well, but as long as the overall colour payoff is more close to what I want, I can live with that. Yeah, I'm much happy with that colour. I'm going to go in with shading that'll make it slightly darker even then. I think I might go in with some of that Blood Angels Red over the heart as well whilst I'm at it. That's better. Okay. Now I'll just decide what colour I want his kind of tunic-y part to be. They've gone for brown and green. But because his legs are brown, I don't really want to paint it brown that much. You know what, I'll go in with an extra layer of that green. And I'll make the centre plate that they've painted green bronze, I think. So going with that same mix I had before of Caliban green and Abaddon black, same as okay. Bear with me 1 second, guys. There we go, I don't know why it tried to freeze on me, but it's been reset now. Sorry about that, guys. What is a hellbrute? I don't know, actually. Have to look that one up. If anybody else has any ideas?
Cowboys essentially Chaos's dreadnoughts.
There we go. Hellbrutes are essentially Chaos's dreadnoughts, Mr. Nerd just said. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nerdy. No problem. Right, on his back he has a sword, so I'm just going to go in with some lead belcher to do that. Just want to make sure my brush isn't too big. Mr. Nanny, do you play Warhammer Space Marine 2? Yes, played it a lot. At least when it was released. Same here, expect to play Siege mode quite a lot of times. For the sigil on his stomach, I'm going to go in with Warp Lock Bronze, I think. I don't think I've ever used this one. Siege mode is a lot of fun. I've not played it in a few months, to be honest. The only thing that annoys me are those dead leapers. Xeno scum, I tell you. Death leapers, sorry. I think I'll drag that down onto the bell as well, just because I quite like this bronze. And then what I'll do is I'll swirl green through the marker on his stomach just to kind of separate the two. The Nids are really cool though. Tempted to get a 40k army of them. Imagine that's Tyranids.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Good.
can't spell Tyranids.
It's okay, it's not exactly the easiest word to say. It's spell Tyranids. For clarification, Nids means Tyranids, guys. Now I need to use the same brown I just used, which is some... Where'd you go? Thundia brown again. And just fill in his face. My next army might be Blood Ravens. Totally not because they're related to Thousand Suns or anything. Wink, wink. You make an army of whatever you like, mate. But the fact they are linked to the army you already love makes it a bonus, surely. I like the Space Marines, but not enough to collect an army of them. If it wasn't Town, it wasn't Tyrannus, what would you collect, Mr. Nerd?
Toenails.
Toenails? I don't think you can make an army of those. I don't know what their point value is. It would be disgusting.
Or
How would I even make blood ribbons? Was that orcs? Orcs. I think Gray mentioned this the other day. It was something about something was like changing the colour scheme, and then you can buy the little shoulder decals online. Sorry, family emergency there. We couldn't find the dog. Miss had let him out in the back garden and forgot about him. Weird thing is he didn't cry or bark. He's just out the back step and waited. Starting with a combat patrol is always a good start. Also true. Outback being a good boy. He is. Clearly being a good boy. It's just that creepy thing, isn't it? You know, like dogs that are normally very vocal and they're suddenly not. You're like, what is going on? Where are they? BRB, no worries. 1 second. Right, so we've just got the horn on his shoulder, his base and his staff to do with the base, and then I can start shading. I think for his staff and for the horn here, I'm going to go in with a lighter colour though. I think I'm going to go in with... Back! Awesome, thank you for coming back. Nice to have you. Going in with Carrick Stone for the horn and for his staff, I think. And then I'm going to dry brush green over that. Because I think that would be quite a good combination. I just hit my knee on the corner of the desk. Ow. Yep, sounds very painful. What knee was it? Was it Disney or Datney? It's Mr. Nerd making dad jokes. Practicing. Mr. Nerd's in the room next to me, and whenever I know he's coming up with a pun or something, I can always tell, because suddenly his typing gets a lot quicker. Because he's like, I've got to say it quick. Haha, it was my left one. This is the same colour I'm going to use to dry brush across the horns that are on the figure. There we go. By the way, did I hear that you paint models for people, or was I hearing things? We're open to commissions. Yep. So if you wanted to send something in, it would just be a case of, obviously with a commission, it would be a case of you'd pick a model, pay for it, tell us how you want it painted. We'd then paint it for you, create the content for the channel, and then send it to you. Just his hooves and his staff to do now. For that, I'm going to use Gortha Brown again, since I already have it out. So again, that is where I can find it. There. Gortha Brown. I might have to look into that for my Helldrake. Feel free. Want to get my hands on one, exactly. Just some Ferdin's back hoof that I missed. Sneaky things they are to find. It's coming together quite nicely. Have you tried looking up? They tend to fly. Oh, goodness. Yeah, but they seem to think I'm weird. Slowly getting there. A bit more of that warp lock bronze. Maybe because I'm a 22-foot tall rock golem. That might do it. And now I've just got the little rope around his wrist and the little skull on his hand. And then it's shading time. I think for the rope, I'll just go in with some more Karak stone. All I might need to do is highlight my models and dry brush, which, as you will see, I have tried that on my channel with a flamethrower space marine I made into a space wolf. Very cool. Look forward to seeing that. The skulls I'm going to go over with the contrast paint, which is Skeleton Horde. It just makes the skulls look a lot better. Apply this to the little mini skull. That's kind of hidden. I've also used blue tack to block out some of the areas I don't want to paint, like the eyes to be for example. I've heard people do that, like using stuff like blue tack and pieces of tape and things like that, and then just making sure they peel it off afterwards. It's whatever technique works for you, bud. Apply this over the horn as well, I think. Pretty. I'm going to go around with some moot green and just pluck out any of the pustules, and then after that it'll be shading. I think for the pustules actually I'll go in with Elysian green. Because they're more like growths rather than... in fact, no, I'll dry brush first and then I'll go in with this, because otherwise they're just going to get covered up on the areas that I'm planning on to dry brush. Could I get some tips on shading? Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to shading, it's all about, in my opinion, just controlling the flow of where you want it to go. So start off with a small amount and focus on one particular area. Once I've done this dry brushing, I will be moving on to some shading. I'll show you an example. But because shade paints are water-based, they are looser than a lot of the other paints naturally. Because like this is a shade paint, for example. And you can see it's, and here it's, you know, it's very loose in the pop. So you don't need as much of it as you would if you were using any other paint. So if you use a small amount, brush it down the figure and then just control where you want it to go. It's kind of the intention is to let it sink into all the crevices and stuff of the item, so that of the figure, so that it creates shadow there. once I get onto it, I'll show you exactly what I mean. Just moving on to the horns on it, back onto his head for now to do some dry brushing for a second. And for that, I'm using Karak stone again. It just makes them a little bit lighter without adding too much. I'm going to do the same thing to his dreadlocks. I think I might even dry brush his cape a little bit, because I did say I was going to. Probably going to use Catachan flesh for the dry brushing on the cape. More of a shawl or a tunic, I guess, actually. Just help dirty it up a little bit and make it look a little bit less solid. And it just creates that kind of muddier, more worn look to the cape. I'll do the same over his backpack, just to kind of highlight the stitches that he's got. When I go in with an actual highlight shade in a minute, I will add that. Here we go. Now I'm just going to add those pustules with the green, and then I'm going to be shading. Oh, throwing my brushes on the floor. Colour do shading with solid colour, aka with water. With shading, you want to ideally use an actual shade paint rather than watering down a paint, just because it can give you a completely different consistency. And if you're using Citadel colours, all the paints for Citadel colours are water-based, so you can end up washing away the hard work you've put underneath, so you're better off actually using a shade paint. Just because the way they're made, they're designed to go over the top of other paints, whereas if you try and just do it with water, you're risking ruining your work. So I would advise not to, personally. Just realised I also forgot to do the heart in his hand. That needs a tiny bit of dry brushing. Just using Night Crest of Flesh. But you can, in theory, just water it down a lot and use as little as possible, as it will flood into the recesses and drown out any detail. So in theory, yes, but in practice, I wouldn't. I agree with Rothmer Gaming, aka Mr. Nerd. Right.
You only need one shade anyway, don't you? You just need that.
To be honest, yeah, very good point. So if you are practicing, if you're beginning, the perfect paint, obviously if you don't want to spend a lot of money, just go in with this. Just buy this one and you will have everything you need sorted. Use Nuln Oil. I'm going to be using it on this figure. This paint is, as you can see, very watery. It will sink into the recesses. It will create dark, greyish black shadows. It is fantastic. This is the one. If you're going to go for one to start with, whilst you're getting used to it, I would just buy this one. And this will kind of do everything. This will do everything you need. When it comes to, I'll use it on his hair, and you can see, that'll be my practice. I'll use this one on his hair, and you can see what it does. But I'll do it on his hair now, because he hasn't got any pustules in his hair, so I can do it over his dreadlocks for you now. So obviously it's appropriate to find a brush that is going to be... Do I have to worry about it getting on the bed? It really just depends on where you're painting it. If you're painting it obviously on your bed, then just be careful with any paints. But this, it is a bit runnier, so you don't want to use as much. So in this case, I'm just going in with a brush that's slightly fluffy, ever so slightly. But it was also quite small, because the area I'm covering is not very large. Literally, as you can see, with shade paint, I don't water it down. I take it straight from the pot and just scrape off any excess on the edge of the pot, so my brush isn't overloaded with product. You're then going to go down. I brush down personally. And just kind of let the product sink into the recesses or the gaps. So anywhere where there is like a hole or, you know, a dip in the way it's moulded, it will naturally fall into those creases. So between those dreads, that's where the shade paint has sunk into. And it's created that shadow. As you can see, it's very, very watery. I've gone over that with 2-3 dips of a brush. It's very controlled. It's not running anywhere because, like I said, I've controlled the amount I've put on. So as long as you control the amount you've got on, you should not have any problems with it running or dripping anywhere. Just don't go too heavy with it. And you can just see it just sinks into those crevices. I'm happy with how that looks. There's a couple of spots where it's a little bit dark. So to do that, get the paint out of the way now. I'm going to get a piece of kitchen roll and that same brush. Ideally, you can use a different brush or you can use the same brush. This one's been completely cleaned off now. Dip it into some water and I just dab off any extreme excess on the brush so it's not soaked. And then just dab it into the areas where you think it's gone a bit dark, and essentially it sucks it back up into the brush. So it works like a mini sponge. And that way then you've controlled where it's going on. Then how does some of my paints have water in it? Oh, do I have to shake it before use? Always shake your paints before use. Just because the pigments will separate. Technically, the thing that a lot of people recommend now is using some form of ball bearing inside your paint. So when you shake it, it really mixes the pigments together. But always give your paints a good shake before you use them. Because then all the pigment is going to be mixed together really well. And it's going to be exactly what you need it to be like.
It's an example of unmixed.
Yeah. So this is a contrast paint that is unmixed. And then all I'm going to do is give it a really good shake. And you can see now it's gone that nice grey colour. So each time you open it, obviously before you open it, just give it a good shake and then open it again. Because obviously these lids they will pop shut. Just make sure they're always obviously tightly shut before you shake them. Give it a really, really good shake and then use it. Because that way then you're also going to get the best out of the colour you're using. Does that make sense? So this is Elysian Green. Again, I haven't used this one. This is a base paint. Oh, not going to throw it. I'm going to shake it. Still going to shake it a little bit because these paints can still separate. This is a layer paint, actually. So I did have a shading paint, but I dropped it. No worries. Obviously, if you dropped it, just obviously, just be careful so you don't drop any of your more stuff, because otherwise you're wasting your money. It does happen. I've dropped a couple of paints myself. I've done it a few times, actually. But just be careful of it, and obviously just shake them all up before use. Other one I recommend, this is a paint product. This is something we use. We're not sponsored by them, but I'd recommend it. This is a wet palette. About £20 on Amazon, and essentially it comes with this sponge underneath. You soak that in water and then you dampen these parchment sheets and put them on top on my white bed sheets. Ouch. And essentially what this does is it keeps this palette wet. So there's literally paints on here. Bearing in mind we've been painting for nearly 2 hours. This is the very first paint I made and it is still wet. So this way, if you use this, it allows you to then use less product because you don't have to use as much out of here. So this is a product I highly recommend. Since we got these, they've been a lifesaver, and like I said, it's £20. It's really not that expensive. And it's saved us a fortune having to constantly go out and buy even more paints. And this is linked in the description of the video, so you can find it really quickly if you were interested in it. Yeah, if you have a better surface to do your painting on, obviously aside from your bed, like a desk or something like that, I highly recommend doing it there as well. Just somewhere where if you accidentally spill it, it'll be easier for you to clean up. Oh, thank you for telling me. You're very welcome. No worries at all. Was that shading, was that helpful when it came to the shading? Does that make sense? Also, I'm going back in with shading paints after this, so I'm going to be doing more of it so you can watch what I do. But if you ever see me do a specific step, or I'm about to do a specific step, because obviously I tend to actually tell you guys what I'm doing right before I do them. Yes, it did. Fantastic. Obviously, I always tell you guys what I'm doing right before I do a step. So if you want me to kind of not just do it and you want me to kind of explain what I'm doing, more than happy to. Just drop a little comment and I will kind of talk you through what I'm doing as I'm doing it. And you guys can then let me know. When I first did it, I put too much, like way too much. Yeah, I think that's quite common because because it's so watery, you make the mistake of either picking up too much or you pick up too much in your brush and then it pools everywhere and you lose control of the product. And that's when it kind of ruins the look and then you kind of put off using the product because you're thinking, oh, well, that didn't work. When in reality, it just was a case of that time it didn't work. And then after that, it does. Also go a little and build up the paint. Yes, definitely. Building stuff up in layers. So, for example, if I was to just use Nuln Oil over this entire figure, I would still go in sections. So I would do his hair like I just did. I would then do his staff like on its own. This on its own. I would take each section and I would do it section by section. So that way then I have complete control of the drying time of the product. And I can then control like the cleanup. So for example, like I said, on his dreads, there was a couple bits where I thought, oh, that's a bit dark. Because I only did one section, I had the time to go in with my brush and kind of correct that. Whereas if I brushed it all over with Nuln Oil, brushed it all over in one go, and then, you know, left it, I might find there's parts of it where it's pulled in places I didn't want it to. But because I brushed it all so liberally and just left it in without really paying attention to that specific area, it just can cause the outcome to be not entirely what you want. So just do it in sections and just do it little and build your way up. Just focusing on this swirl that's in his plate on his belly. And I'll just put a tiny swirl of green in there. I might actually have to get Nuln Oil tomorrow then. I did thought Nuln Oil was solid because of Space Marines too. Yeah, Nuln Oil is, honestly, if you are looking for like your beginner paints that always work, I would recommend in everybody's kit to have Nuln Oil. I can find them all here. They're in the mix of this pile. Retributor Armor and Lead Belcher. If you have these three, they're kind of your basics. You'll find that almost every character, if you're looking through a guide, will probably mention at least one of these three, if not all three. If you have all three of these, you're pretty much set with your basic gold, your basic silver, and then your basic shade paint. Those are the three that I'd recommend you have in your kit. From my perspective, from our experience of doing this. And that's coming from beginners. And both Retributor Armor and Lead Belcher are both base paints as well, so they're really, really simple and easy to use. Oh, you don't have Nuln Oil. Fantastic. So you can just pick up Nuln Oil then and you will be sorted. Some like pustule growths on this little horn he has. So I've just gone ahead and added some of that. Like these dots are so tiny, these little pustule dots, but they really do kind of add something to the final product. And any other things I should be thinking about. So you mentioned dry brushing. Have you been practicing your dry brushing? Have you got like a decent dry brush? And if not, I can tell my advice would be to pick up makeup brushes. Like dense, fluffy makeup brushes, because they are really, really good for dry brushing and they tend to be a bit more inexpensive and you can get them in like a pack. And then you can dry brush to your heart's content without wasting loads and loads of money, because your dry brush will be the one that you constantly replace. So with your dry brush, either get some makeup brushes, really simple ones. This is an example of a really worn out Citadel's brush. This is Citadel. And you can see this brush is super, super worn out. But you can see its thickness is really dense. If you do want to get this one, feel free. Just obviously make sure you clean this out every single time. And then give it a really good scrub down to make sure it stays that way. But if you want, because you do wear through these a lot quicker than you do other brushes, I'd recommend getting a little set of makeup brushes, beginner's makeup brushes. You can pick them up in like any other... like you can pick up at Superdrug, you can pick it up at Boots. Just walk in and pick up a brush that kind of looks similar to that, or a couple that look similar to that, and you'll be, one, you'll find they're cheaper, and two, once you've worn through those, it'll be less money for you to have to pay to replace these. Equally, you could do what we did and pick up a set of 4. This is a dry brushing set specifically, and these are nylon brushes, so the fabric is kind of designed to be obviously used for dry brushing, and they're designed to be a little bit denser and a little bit more long wearing. But a good makeup brush will do the exact same thing. And for dry brushing, you will literally want to get the product onto your brush. You'll dip it into the paint. Get your piece of kitchen roll, brush it across the kitchen roll until you've got barely any product left on your brush, to the point you can barely see it on the kitchen roll, and then you want to drag it across. And for big miniatures, I've done quite a few big miniatures when it comes to my Sylvaneth, and dry brushing has worked perfectly fine for them. A lot of it is trial and error. It's just about figuring out what works for you. But for now, I would focus on dry brushing and shading. And once you've done those two, and you're pretty happy with where you are with those, and you've experimented with maybe a few more shade paints, then look at going into highlighting. But until you're happy with those two, just focus on using those for now. Because that will add dimension, and it will add shade, and it will add highlight to your miniature without it being too complex to begin with. And then once you're happy and you're ready to step it up to the next level, then move on to your highlighting. Okay, so now on to our shading. So obviously he's got a green cape. I'm going to go in with Coelia green shade for that. Again, a relatively fluffy brush. Thank you so much, Mrs. Nerdy. I really appreciate it. No worries at all. You're very, very welcome. So even, this is another example. I'm going in on the cape with a shade paint and a brush that's designed for this. But you can see I'm only working in sections on the cape. I'm not just chucking it all over. Because I want to control how the product goes on and where it sits. You see? And now I'm going to move on to this section. And just always have a look at the section before you move on to the next. Make sure you're happy with it. There's no excess pooling that I'm not happy with. So next section, so this shoulder. And then finally, front shoulder piece. And then because he's got a green tunic on, I'm just applying that underneath there as well. Boket, good morning, fellow nerds. How are you doing? Are you off for Christmas now, officially? I would hope so. Okay. So, for the wooden or the brown parts, I'm going to go in with a brown paint, a brown shade paint. You've got multiple options when it comes to your brown ones. So, you have Agrax, Earthshade, Seraphim Sepia, and Reikland Flesh Shade. All of these are kind of brown toned. I've also got help from the Warhammer shop owners where I live, where it comes to the Demon Prince. We build him up for AKA Zatar. Very good idea. Listen to what they say. They're going to have even more advice than us, and they've probably been painting a lot longer than we have. So if you want more advice, go to them, because they'd be more than happy to help you. On the browner sections of this model, I'm going to use Agrax, and on the lighter sections, I'm going to use Reikland. But I'm tempted to actually just use Seraphim Sepia on his horns. Doing well, yeah, off for 3 weeks. Wonderful. Hey, Rothmer. Fantastic. Have you got anything coming up for Christmas? Any traditions that you guys will... Agrax, I hate it. Any particular reason why you hate Agrax? That's the one I dropped all over my floor in bed. Okay, I understand that a little bit. But trust me, the paint itself is really, really good. Once you use it, it'll be okay. I'm going to start with Agrax, and I'm going to go over the brown sections first. On the fur, specifically. Oof, Glasgow store only cares about the sales. Couldn't care less about the fans and community building. Some of them can be like that, unfortunately. So I'm going to go in with Agrax. Focus it one limb at a time. Oh, I used it on my floor in bed. Not for its intended purpose. I will show you the progress we've made with the Nurgle side in a moment, Boo, so you can actually see where we've got to so far. Starting a new tradition this year, my dad, brother and I, we're all building scale model kits. Looking forward to that. That sounds really, really cool. So see, this Christmas will be our last one with just us two. And as of next year, we will have our child. So I'm kind of looking through traditions and kind of being like, that sounds nice. That sounds like a good idea. And seeing what other people do. So, in the last 2 streams, or last 4 streams, we've painted these ones. So, we have Belga the Cyst Witch, all finished. Who is really, really cool. And her cauldron is superb, if I do say so myself. I may be biased, but I do really enjoy that. And then, yesterday, we painted Gelgus Pust, aka the Prince of Sores, and he was really fun to paint. And now today we're on Shaman Foulhoof, and we're onto his shading stage now. So after that we just have highlights to do, and then he is finished. For the horns on his head and obviously the yellowish horns, I'm going to go in with just some Seraphim Sepia for that. They look great. I love the sculpt with the witch. The witch is a really, really cool sculpt. I have more Skaven to paint. Always more rat boys. Never enough rat boys. You can just see the Seraphim over those horns, once you focus. It just kind of makes them look a little bit more warm-toned. And now I'm going to go in with some red on the helmet, or the hat, and on the heart in his hand. And then after that, I will start going in with technical paints, where I will use, well, technical paint on that one, where I will use blood for the blood god, which is going to be fun. And then I've just got his base to do here. And highlights. So as well, I need to buy a tiny bit more advice for my Thousand Sons army. You need a tiny bit more. Yeah, what do you need advice on? So Carabag Crimson for the red sections. So I have the combat patrol and need something to just just get it ready for an army. Do you have any model ideas for my army? Well, any extensions to obviously make it into a bigger army, or specific styles that you're after? Because I know some of them, like certain figures, you can like kind of build a certain way over others. Or are you just asking for other figures that could be used in your combat patrol? So if you're looking specifically for model advice on which ones to build, I would do a little bit of points research if your plan is to use it for actually playing combat patrol, and figure out which one you like the most, because what you like the most is important, but also look at the point value of adding certain weapons onto certain ones. And if it just so happens that the one you like the most, with say a bolt gun, for example, is worth more than it would be with a sword, go for the bolt gun. For extending it, like I said, if you look up the codex, because I think you can get some of it online, look at how many points your army is worth and build up to 1,000 points. Always start with building up to 1,000, and then from there you can build up to 2,000. And then just look, because the other thing is, if you're going into your local store, we know our store can do this for us. If you are picking specifically for building to 1,000 points, they will generally have a codex or something sometimes in the store, or something they can look at and go, okay, I want to build out my combat patrol for 1,000 suns. I want it to 1,000 points. I'm looking at this character, this character, this character. Can you tell me how many points these 3 characters are worth? And they can find that, and they can give it to you and go, okay, this character's worth 250 points, this one's worth 40. And then between the two of you, you can add it up to make a complete combat patrol worth 1,000 points that is then usable in a battle against somebody else who's also got a 1,000 point army. So it's just all about the research on what you want and how that can play into a 1,000 point army. Obviously, if you just want it because it's cool, do it. And then it just means that you may have to sacrifice another character elsewhere to use that particular character. Right, I'm going to move on to some highlighting now. I'm going to start with the cape because that's where I started before. Does that make sense? For this, I'm going to go in with Warg Flesh as the highlight. I'm going to attempt to use that, just because it's a little bit lighter than the other colours I've got, but I don't want it to be too vibrant. And Caliban Green's probably a bit too dark on its own. Because I was thinking maybe a Hellbrew or Helldrake to add, and yes it does. Okay, cool. Absolutely, you can add either of those. Just look up, research the points value, and just work out, like I said, work out how much your combat patrol is already worth. And then from there, you can add up those points to make it into a 1,000 point army or a 2,000 point army or whatever it is you're working towards. Some people are obviously just collectors and they will build an entire collection. And then when it comes to actually using it in a battle, like a battle-based system, like in Combat Patrol, they'll just pick and choose from their selection, which you can absolutely do. Yeah, I think you need to go for a brighter green than that. I think I'll mix a little bit of Elysian green with a slightly darker green, just so this isn't so bright. You can absolutely do that, just, you know, when it comes to actually putting your army together. just make sure it's the correct amount of points if you're planning on going up against somebody else in a system that isn't, obviously, to keep it fair and equal. Yep, so what I've done there is I've just mixed some Elysian green with a tiny bit of Abaddon black to get this colour. £475 points for the combat patrol. Yeah, so you've got lots and lots of points spare, so I would just do a little bit of research and figure out which ones you want most, mate. Figure out which ones you want most, work out the points value, work out what you've got the money for, and then go for it. You can see that green highlight is just subtle enough that it just picks up really beautifully on the robes. I think the highlighting is what really makes these models, to be honest. Makes all the models, but specifically because there's so much detail in them. It just really helps to bring some detail back to the forefront without losing it. Maybe 1 second, my camera's frozen again. There we go. What are the sources called again? AK 3-pack. I don't know with that one, mate. Just picking out some of the edges now. Right, now I'm going to go in with Technical Paint. I'm going to go in with Blood for the Blood God on the heart in his hand. And then from there, I can move on to the other highlights whilst that dries. So Blood for the Blood God looks like this. Consistency-wise, it's just slightly thicker. And just quite generously spreading this over his hand, the heart. Also remember, the thicker you apply something, the longer it's going to take to dry. That's Blood for the Blood God all over the heart in his hand now. And now I'm going to go on to the horns on his head. To highlight those, I'm going to go in with Rakarth Flesh. Hi. So I'm just dragging this down. Focusing on like the ridges of the horn. My maximum points 950 for the 1000 point army. That's still fine. As long as you're close to it. Welcome in, Wendy Ashford. I meant to say in, not im. Not I'm. And now I'm going to focus this quite heavily going up these top horns. Focus this down like the main bone of the horn here. And then just down and out across each ridge. Mr. Nerdy, do you know how much a Rubik Marine is worth, point-wise? We've never collected them, mate, so it might be worth having a look online to see if you can find the answer. Approximately 19 points per marine according to ChatGPT. Yeah, but I'll just have a look online as well and see what you can find. Still using that Rakath flesh. Just making sure I'm dragging some of this colour around the back of the figure as well. So it's highlighted from both sides. Yeah, 2.6, so you can have 2. Or you can have 3 and then sacrifice points on something else. Yes, 2.5, but obviously 2.5 is not possible, so it will be 2. Right. For the highlight on the mask, I'm just going to go with some corn red. Combat, Patrol, Helldrake. Focusing this mostly around like the nose and around the eye sockets. Exiled Sorcerer AK3. And 2 extra Rubik Marines. Yeah, it sounds like a good army to me. Now the only thing left to highlight is the browns. And then I'm going to say he's done. I'll do that piece when I do his base. For the highlights on the fur, I'm going to go in with some Cadian Flesh Tone mixed with a tiny bit of Gortha Brown. The only guys need to buy online or get the owner to order them is the Exiled Sorcerers. That's good. Should be easy if you get your hands on the rest for yourself then. There are furs and stuff, so I'm just focusing the highlights on the tufted out bits of fur mostly for the brown sections. With the Helldrake as well. I was thinking you'd get a Hellbrute, but I don't think you will fit into my 1,000-point army with the Helldrake as well. Again, I don't know the points value, but it sounds like it might be a lot. £135 points for the Hellbrute. Yeah, so you can get him for your 2,000 point army. And there we are. Obviously his heart in his hand is still drying. But that is Mr. Shaman Foulhoof done. His base will be done separately. That's the third one in the collection all done. Pretty happy with how he turned out. He's pretty cool. But we will leave it at that. So thank you everybody for watching. It's been greatly appreciated. Thank you everybody who's tuned in today. So obviously that's signed, popping in briefly. Obviously Mr. Nerd, Arch, thank you for joining. That's Golak, that's okay Colour. That is a couple other people that randomly popped in for a little bit. Obviously Bo. Wendy, like, yeah, thank you everybody. Anyway, thank you very much everybody. If I didn't mention your name, it's just because I was quickly doing a quick scroll through. Genuinely greatly appreciated everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Well, tonight for me, sometimes it's day for some of you. But I hope the rest of you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world. And hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow for the last stream before Christmas. And then after that, I will see you on the 26th and the 27th. And then after that, I will be going offline for a bit to have my baby. So hopefully you guys can tune in for the last 3 streams. If not, don't worry about it. I understand it's Christmas time, but it would be lovely to see you guys there. So anyway, have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.